When it comes to solar specifically, there's 6 main questions. So I want to play a little bit of a game right now, and what I'm going to need is I'm going to need 5 volunteers. What's that nasty P word? 10 push-ups. He said it. He fell for the trick. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Hey, who's excited to be here? Yeah! Hey, I can't hear you guys. Who's excited to be here? Oh, hey, who's excited to be here on Zoom? Come on, let me hear it! Come on, let me hear it! All right, so I am so excited to be here today with all of you, and we have a very special opportunity today. And what that opportunity is to help you think differently for the rest of your life. Not just the training that you come in here and say, hey, I heard a lot of good information, but something that will actually tap into your conscious brain to help you think differently for the rest of your life, okay? We each have a challenge today. The challenge for me is really to give you guys these aha moments, right? For the light bulb to go on in your mind. The challenge for you guys is to actually program this information today. You see, I'm just going to expose it to you, but not taking notes at an event like this is like eating spaghetti with a spoon. You're going to get a lot on you, but the goal is not to get it on you, but to get it in you, okay? How many of you guys are in your first year of doing sales or door-to-door sales? Okay, so a good amount of you guys. How many of you guys have spent more than 3 years in door-to-door sales? How many of you guys over 5 years? Anybody over 7, 10, 15? Okay, I'm 17 years, so usually I'm the old guy in the room. How many of you guys are under 21 in here? Anybody under 21? How old are you, brother? 19. Damn, this kid was 2 years old when I started knocking doors, right? Making me feel old over here. So I'm really excited for today's training, and really what the goal is to be able to give you guys these aha moments. But one thing that I want to talk about right off of the bat is, my experience in the field yesterday. And what I did yesterday was I was really watching the other sales reps compared to what I do. And there's 2 noticeable differences that I noticed compared to every other door-to-door salesman compared to what I do. And the first thing is I'm just a little bit more persistent, okay? The average buyer is going to say yes after the 5th closing attempt. The reason there's so much peons, the reason there's so much mediocrity is because the sales professional has to be willing to pay the price to be able to learn all these different techniques. The other thing that I noticed is I will get the family physically involved the entire time. I'm handing them things. I'm taking things away. I'm walking to the curb. I'm showing them their roof. I'm showing them and personalizing that opportunity for these families that I serve. You see, if you tend to sound like every other salesperson that's ever knocked at their door, what's going to happen is people are going to tend not to listen to you, okay? So what I do is a little bit different, right? And the presentation, the inflection, the body language, everything that you do during a sales presentation will either help you or hurt you. There is absolutely no neutral within that process. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is really what it takes to be the practicing professional, okay? What type of professionals do you guys know? What type of professionals are there? Doctors, lawyers, what else? Athletes. Service members. Okay. Question, if you were the best football player at your high school, does that mean that you're going to get a professional contract? No. Okay. Does it necessarily mean that I could go to school and be a doctor for 6 years or whatever years it takes and then graduate, get my degree, and walk out with that degree and be able to earn the type of money that we make? Are you able to do that as a doctor right away after you graduate? No. What do they have to go through? They have to go through residency. And how much do they earn during residency? Peanuts. Okay. They don't make much, okay? So I'm going to give you an analogy that I need you to really program into your mind right now, because the whole training is going to come back to this main idea, okay? If I was to ask you to imagine a big tree in your mind right now. Just picture a big tree. How many leaves are on a tree? Thousands. There's a ton of leaves, right? Can't count them. How many branches are on a tree? How many branches are usually on a tree?
Thousands.
Less than the leaves, but there's a good amount of branches on the tree. Now my question to you is, typically, how many trunks are on a tree?
One.
There's one trunk on the tree. And the idea and the reason that I'm analogizing this is everything that I train on today is going to come back to the trunk of the tree, which is the main idea. And the main idea is opposite thinking. It's the way that you envision yourself. The top salesmen shine with conviction. They have an absolute catching belief about themselves, their product, their service, their company. There's no wavering thoughts of like, oh, what am I doing? Or am I a wandering generality? I have a myopic vision. I know the fact that I can help somebody. And that's really what it comes down to as far as my mindset. So we're going to talk a lot about opposite thinking, reverse thinking. And the first thing that I want you to think about is the fact that you all have a professional contract sitting right in front of you. The athletes, the doctors, the lawyers, the dentists, you can add up all of their income and put their income against the sales professional. The sales professional out-earns all the other professionals. But here's the thing. The sales professional is lacking one thing that all these other professionals have. And the common denominator with the word professional is practicing. The same thing a lawyer calls their office. What does a lawyer call their office?
Practice.
Their practice. Okay, they are practicing professionals. So the number one thing that we lack compared to every other professional is the willingness to pay the price. When I say willingness to pay the price, I mean there is a price to pay to be great. Are you willing to give in the effort? Are you willing to give the time investment that it takes to be really good at your craft? Are you willing to give the dedicated sacrifice that it takes? Are you willing to learn? You see, all life is growth and contribution. You learn something and then you teach it. The more that you learn, the more that you know that you need to learn. But that's what we lack as sales professionals, is that willingness to pay the price on a day-to-day basis. You see, every single one of you guys, your life is like a stock. You're either going to get better or you're going to get worse. I can't want it for you. Caleb can't want it for you. Joe can't want it for you. You have to make that decision. When I was 18 years old, I heard a line that said, decisions will decide your wealth. Right? And I have these aha moments, right, to think differently, which I'm going to give you a lot of them today. But like I said, it's up for you to actually program this information into your mind. When I first met Tom Hopkins, I said, what is the best piece of advice you would give me? I'm 25 years old at this time. I said, Tom, what's like the best piece of advice you would give me? And he said, number one, Taylor, we must do the most productive thing possible at every given moment. You see, that's something I constantly say to myself. Taylor, am I doing the most productive thing possible at this given moment? You see, too many of you guys are strobe lights when you need to be the laser beam. Too many of you guys are interested when you need to be committed. Too many of you guys are the liability when you need to be the asset. Too many of you guys are the warning when you need to be the example. See, most people are interested when they need to be committed. When I talk about a strobe light versus a laser beam, what does a strobe light do? On and off, on and off. I'm in the selling zone, I'm exiting the selling zone. I'm in the selling zone, I'm exiting the selling zone. I get a big check, I spend it, I'm taking my eye off the prize, right? Guess what? This is the game I must play to win. I never see failure as failure, but the match I relentlessly play. This is a game for me. And when it becomes a game, you're never going to work another day in your life. What does a laser beam do?
Stays on.
Stays on. So there's times where I strobe light. There's times where I get off track. We're all human beings. I'm no different than anybody else in this room. I had a 1.8 GPA. I probably have one of the lowest GPAs. Anybody beat me? Anybody under 1.8? Let's go. So the thing is, it's these ways that we think up here that can change the trajectory of what you do on a day-to-day basis. Am I the strobe light or am I the laser beam? Taylor, you're strobe lighting right now. Time to get back on focus. Need to be the laser beam. It's these small little reminders that will help you think differently. And that's what we are going to talk about today, the success triangle. So I had it on the screen, but how would you guys define what a salesperson is? How would you define, like, if I went up, let's just say I went to Target and I'm pushing my cart and there's Mary there looking at Clorox or something, and I say, hey Mary, can I bother you for a second? What do you think of salespeople? What do you think she's going to say?
Convince you.
Somebody who sells a service.
Somebody that sells. But if a random person I said, what do you think of salespeople? What do you think their average response is?
Scumbags.
I don't like salespeople,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what if I changed it to going down that same aisle and I said, hey Mary, what do you think of door-to-door salesmen?
Untrustworthy. Untrustworthy.
Right?
Scammers are amazing.
You see, it's the way that we think. You should have never been called salesmen at the beginning. You should have been called servants. What is the benefit of what we do? We serve the families. We give them a convenience. We educate them. We give them the ability to make their own decisions in their own comfort of their own home. You see, a salesman is first off a man that can sell himself to himself, or a woman that can sell herself to herself. They have an absolute catching belief about their mission. They are not wandering generalities, they are meaningful specifics. How many of you guys have ever heard of the phrase, what's your why? Like, why are you doing this, right? How many of you guys feel like you have a strong why, right? I think that's a stupid question. I don't have a why. I have a who. It's not why you're doing it, it's who you're doing it for. I watched my parents get down to their last 20 bucks. I was a golf caddy when I was 15 years old to help my family. But I realized that it was up to me to make my family proud. Right? There's people that have doubted me in my life. There's people that want to watch me fail. There's people probably that have doubted you. A lot of people suffer from self-doubt while others are intimidated by your full potential of what you're capable of. What's crazy is when we talk about the professional contract that's sitting right in front of your face, it's just, are you willing to do everything that it takes to perfect your craft? These athletes, these doctors, these dentists that are innovative and creative with perfecting their crafts, or athletes trying to learn a new shot or a new route or a new throw. They're constantly practicing, guys. What you're doing off of the doors needs to be to get you into the groove when you're on the doors. Like I said, your life is like a stock. You guys get better or worse. There's no neutral. Same way during the sales presentation, everything you say will help you or hurt you. There is no neutral within that process. So today I want to break it down to the absolute ridiculous to help you think differently on 3 specific subjects that I like to refer to as a success triangle. It's your technique, which is the words that come out of your mouth. Your attitude, which is what you program up here, the most powerful computer that there is. And your behavior of what you do on a day-to-day basis. What you guys do occasionally will change nothing every single time. It's up for you guys to make that decision. It's up for you guys to put your last name on your back. It's up for you guys to say, hey, I'm willing to go out and prove it. I'm willing to take my game to the next level. And this is how I'm going to provide for my family the rest of my life. But it comes down to you making that decision. You see, if your tactics are sound, they can't fight you. You go through a whole entire sales presentation in front of somebody and there's no objections and they're like, oh, that was a lay down sale. It's like, yeah, dude, you show me how to do that then. Everything that you do during the process will either create certainty or anxiety. Does anybody want to know what the greatest enemy is when you knock on somebody's door?
Yourself.
Fear. False evidence appearing real. See, when I knock on somebody's door, their anxiety is way up here. Oh, this is a door-to-door salesman, and their certainty is down here. So what do I have to do? I have to shift. I have to create the certainty here, and I need to create the anxiety there. There's only one objection that you face as a sales professional, and what is that? Only one objection that you face as a sales professional. Trust. Trust is the only objection that you face as a sales professional. If somebody gives you 100% trust and they fully trust you, do you think that that means they're going to do business with you?
Yes. Of course.
No. Somebody fully trusted me, liked me, thought I was a good kid, whatever it is, that doesn't mean they're going to do business with me. there's also something else that I need to earn. You need to earn their trust, but you also need to earn their respect. The perception of you as a professional makes a difference for them having the certainty that you're going to actually help them and take their hand and lead them through this process. So we break it down to your technique. The families that you serve, really pay attention, use your brain here. They're not doing business with you because they understand what you're saying. They do this because they feel understood. Empathy, asking a lot of questions. You see, sales is the art of blending complete opposites. And I'm going to show you exactly how to be able to weave, which is one of the main things that I do during my process. Sales to me is the art of blending complete opposites. It's going like this the entire time during the sale. It's going, talking to them about solar, and then talking to them about the Miami Dolphins, and then talking about their car, and then talking about net metering. It's going back and forth to be able to communicate with somebody on the right frequency. Now, what's somebody's favorite radio station around here?
103.5.
103.5. What plays on 103.5?
Pop. Rock,
Pop.
everything.
And it's pretty clear when you listen to it. What happens if you turn the dial to 103.3?
Done.
What are you hearing?
Static.
Static. It's the same analogy that happens when you serve families when you knock on their door. Are you talking to them at the right frequency, or are you just talking and it's going in one ear and out the other one? You see, the number one most powerful technique in presenting is getting the families physically involved with the process. That's why I'm constantly putting something in their hand, taking something out of their hand, showing them the picture of their roof. That's how I'm able to actually create the decision, is by getting them physically involved with the entire process. Now, how many of you guys ever heard of a guy, he was a radio broadcaster, his name was Paul Harvey. He had big glasses. You've heard of Paul Harvey. Okay, so I didn't think any of the younger guys would. So this is what happened. Paul Harvey went to a big sales convention. It was called the American Sales Masters Convention in the 1960s. And he went with Tom Hopkins' mentor. His name is J. Douglas Edwards. If you don't know who that name is, you should probably write it down. J. Douglas Edwards is known as the father of modern day selling. He's literally the best sales trainer that's been able to build the foundation, him and Tom. Jay taught Tom everything, Tom taught me everything. But they're at this sales convention, and it all leads up to this last award. And this last award was for the Salesman of the Year. And the MC gets up there, and he said, this individual earned $35,000 selling real estate last year. Now everyone starts looking around. They're like, 35K? That's pretty good, but I mean, I earned more than that. Why wasn't I the Salesman of the Year? Right? He sold 40 homes, whatever, and the Salesman of the Year, Bob Boucher. And he comes up on stage, and as he's walking up on stage, he's walking up there, and he's walking up the aisle, and he's going like this. And they're like, wow, this guy's blind, right? And he gets on stage, he gives a speech, and they go up to him after. They're like, we got to go talk to this guy. And they're like, Bob, I got to know, how were you able to sell that many homes? And he said, you see, I can never see these homes through my own eyes. I can only see them through the families that I serve's eyes. What does he need to do? He needs to ask a lot of questions. Oh, tell me more about, oh, Bob, it's beautiful. You should see it. The view is unbelievable, and there's a beautiful bathroom. Well, tell me more about that bathroom. He's like, my other advantage is they couldn't just leave me at the house. You see, it's the way that we think. It's the way that you envision yourself. Are you the prize fighter that knows that he's going to go into the win and win the fight? Or are you walking in there saying, hey, I'm just going to show up today? Because that's the difference with the people that are going to get to the top in this game to the people that are just going to stay average. 80% of the people make 20% of the money. The other 20% of the people make the other 80%. It's up to you guys to make that decision which category that you guys want to go into. So it's your technique.
Theories into them, but to build tactics into them. And you build tactics only one way. Practice, drill, rehearse. There is no other way to go.
Practice. practice. We're talking about practice. Practice, drill, rehearse. You memorize, you practice, you drill, and you rehearse. Practice does not make perfect, only perfect practice makes perfect. Who said that? Practice does not make perfect, only perfect practice makes perfect. Anybody know who said that? If you win the Super Bowl, you win the Lombardi, Vince Lombardi. Right? Practice does not make perfect, it's perfect practice that makes perfect. If you're sitting there with the wrong key trying to open up the door, and you spend time trying to open the door and the door doesn't open, you probably have the wrong key. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. You see, this is what sales is, to me, broken down to the ridiculous. It's blending complete opposites. It's not what I say. It's not how I say it. It's how I can make those families feel. You see, on this side is communication. On the opposite side is persuasion. A lot of people think persuasion is a bad thing. What persuasion is asking the right questions to solve these families' problems. You see, I'm communicating on a certain level to make them feel a certain way, and then I'm persuading them by asking questions to solve their problems. You have to earn their trust, but you also have to earn their respect. Trust is the only objection that you face. Respect is how they perceive you. You see, I need to be aggressive, but I also need to be kind. I need to be assertively nice. Okay? I see a bunch of you guys not writing notes. Guaranteed you're not going to program this information into your minds. If you're not taking notes and you're not here to learn, you feel free to leave. But if you are here to take notes, if you don't have a pen and a piece of paper, take out the notes on your cell phone. This stuff will change your life, guys. You be assertive, but you're nice. Ready for this next one? You have to be egotistically humble. Okay, this is how we blend the complete opposites. There's something called ego drive and there's something called ego destruct. Like I said, a salesman is first off a man that can sell himself to himself. But what happens so much is so many people are striving for these motivators on things that they want to do in their life, but they're held down by demotivators. What are some things that motivate us? Come on. Family. What else? Money. Achievement. Recognition, right? These are all things that we strive for. But what happens is the average person is almost paralyzed from the waist down because they want all these things that they want to do to motivate themselves, but they're held back by demotivation. They're sitting there like, I want to crush it today, but then they start self-doubting themselves. As sales professionals, I'm going to give you another aha moment, but it's up to you to program this information into your mind. I'm giving you a 17-year playbook that I've learned through dedicated sacrifice, through my experience. It's up for you guys to make that decision as sales professionals to take your game to the next level. The second piece of advice that Tom told me when I met him was, Taylor, do what you fear most. Like I said, false evidence appearing real. Are you doing what you fear most? Are you stepping out of your comfort zone? You see, I'm not knocking doors. I don't even work. I'm a professional trick-or-treater. I exercise and I make friends. That's it. Like, I don't work. Stop overcomplicating the sales process. You guys give away free money to people and you get paid thousands of dollars to do that. This is a bill they're never going to cancel. There's no way you can hurt their situation. What level of conviction do you have? Because that level of conviction is going to be what allows the family to take your hand. I'm the assistant buyer and I'm actually one of the decision makers. I'm the main decision maker whether or not they go solar. My attitude, my belief, my conviction, the thoughts that go into my mind, the words that come out, the emotion, the feeling, the judgment, the decision. All I'm doing is I'm teleporting my energy. They start thinking something when I show up on their door. Words come out of their mouth. They have an emotion. They have a feeling. They judge me, my product, my service, and they make a decision. You want to know what closing is? Closing is creating the decision. That's what closing is. The long form of closing is the symphony of words that culminates in a final win-win decision. Stop overcomplicating the sale. People make this way too big of a deal. Like, sun goes up, bills go down. Well, that's it. We're able to help them, and I take that approach of being very clear with the way that I speak, clarity, repetition. I say the same thing over and over again. I'm very persistent. Energy, the people with the most energy make the most money. The belief that I have in my product, my service, and my company, and genuinely trying to serve, guys. Go out there today and say, hey, I'm going to create a 25-year relationship with somebody. Caleb, how many total installs do you have in your whole solar career?
Over 300.
So he has 3. Some people open up McDonald's franchises. Some people open up Wendy's franchises. Caleb opened up 300 franchises where he can go drive through neighborhoods when his kids get older and say, Daddy did that one, Daddy did that one, Daddy did that one. And he's creating those franchises that are going to be there for the next 25 years. So this is what sales is to me. It's breaking it down to the absolute ridiculous. A salesman is first off a man that can sell himself to himself. But the problem with that statement is too many of you guys are focusing on what you do wrong. And from this point forward, you need to stop focusing on the things that you do not do right in your life. Maintaining is exhausting. Building is energizing. The secret ingredient to building is having fun. If you're not having fun, it's not worth it. If you're constantly focused on what you're doing wrong, that's not a salesman that can sell himself to himself. So, why would any practicing professional spend so much money on a reception area? Why would a practicing professional spend 10 grand on an aquarium to put in their reception area?
First impression is most important.
First impression, okay? So if you had a hurt tooth and you were in the middle of Kansas, you didn't know anybody, you went to the phone and there was only one doctor's office open, you walked in and it was a beautiful reception area, are you going to feel pretty confident that doctor's going to do pretty good for you?
Of course.
Okay, same situation. You type in the doctor's office, you go down a dirt road, there's this like blinking sign, you walk up these crackling stairs, you go in and there's like kitchen furniture and like a broken sign and it smells and it looks like that in the back office. What are you going to think?
I gotta go.
Yeah.
They've been in business for a long
So
time.
this is what happens. In the middle of a day, 3 hours into it, things come into your mind. This is bad turf. They're not interested. Oh, people don't want solar, this or that. And what you're doing is you're messing up your reception area halfway through the day. When is a salesman more contagious than any other time?
Highest energy.
When they just get a sale.
When right after they get a sale, right? Then they're more contagious. So I'm knocking doors. I got 3 new guys with me. I'm like, watch this, bro. I'm going to sell the first person I talk to. I guarantee this person's going to do it. It's completely self-facing roof. Dude, this would be ridiculous. They were already talking about, dude, the wife was flipping out at the husband last night because he plays Xbox all night, and that's why the bills keep going up. Kid behind me, like, how do you know this? I'm like, don't worry about it, right? I'm selling myself to myself before I knock the door. I knock the door. I have a perfect presentation. My range, my volume, my pace, my diction. I'm just absolutely on point with what I'm saying. And the guy, about 4 or 5 minutes into the Prezi, he goes, this is a gated community. You got to get out of here. Slams the door in my face. I'm like, bro, that was nasty. That was the nastiest presentation. If I keep up like that all day, we are going to be absolutely ripping. We're going to give his away to the neighbor. This person's going to get it. He's not getting it anymore. Knock the door. Perfect. Like, this would be ridiculous. They're going to do it. Perfect presentation again. Range, volume, pace, diction. This is a gated community. You got to get out of here. Somebody was here last week. Slams the door in my face. And what do? I say, that was nasty. I am on fire today. I am presenting the best I've ever presented. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th door, we're dealing with people that are telling me this is a gated community, but where's my energy? It's up here. And then what do you know? We walk into a laydown. The laydown walks us over to the neighbor. Then we walk and talk to the person across the street. Then we got 3 same days back to back to back. Would I have probably been able to do that if I was like, dude, this is a gated community. These people said somebody was here last week. No, it's because your level of contagiousness as a sales professional to communicate and persuade. It's what you think that will create the words. The words create the emotion, which creates the feeling, which you'll judge and then make decisions. How many of you guys have a 4-digit code in your cell phone? Okay, some of you guys don't. Or you guys just don't want to raise your hand. Everyone has 4-digit code on their cell phone, right? But do you have a 4-digit code on your mind? You see, Tom taught me something. It's called the zip-zip game. It goes like this. Zip, zip, zip. I am now in my positive shell. Okay, once again, zip, zip, zip. I am now in my positive shell. Okay, now I want you guys to play with me. Get your zipper ready. Okay, get it ready. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Zip, zip, zip. I am now in my positive shell. Okay, if you do that around your spouse, you did not learn it from me. And the third ingredient to getting really good at this game that we call door-to-door sales is your behavior. What you're doing off of the doors needs to be to get you into the groove when you're on the doors. What you do occasionally will change nothing every single time. Are you interested or are you committed? Are you the example for the team or are you the warning? Compromising on talent is toxic. Don't be the guy that's just here to hang out. You guys all work for yourself before you work for anybody else. You work for yourself. Your decisions are going to decide your wealth throughout that process.
To talk about is easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice.
All right, let's hear it. Come on, I want to hear you guys. Practice? We talking about practice? I'm the franchise player. We talking about practice. That's how you get really good, is you practice. When I was 19 years old, I'm 8 hours straight in the field. I didn't take one break. And I don't have any sales after 8 hours. Usually I get 3 to 4 alarm systems every single day. This was when I was selling alarm systems in 2009. And I call this kid Jake and I'm like, bro, I don't know what's going on. I've been out here for 8 straight hours. I have nothing. I don't get a sale in 8 hours. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. He goes, how many lunch breaks did you take? I said 0. I've been out here all day. He goes, so you're telling me you've been out there for 8 straight hours and you have 0 sales and you have nothing on the board? I said, yeah, I don't know what's going on. He goes, dude, that's sick. I'm like, what? He's like, dude, 8 hours straight in the field? Think about it. Once you get up to Detroit, Michigan, you're going to be popping off 5 to 6 every single day. And it shifted the way that I thought. The best practice is actually recording yourself and watching the footage. Every one of you has a voice recorder on your phone. You don't need a camera guy following you. But too many people have not even heard themselves on recording. It's like, oh, wow, I need to slow it down. Wow, I need to ask more questions. It's like a football player. If he throws 5 picks in a game, do you think he's going to watch film? He needs to watch film to understand to correct your mistakes. So the success triangle, we have our technique, which is the words that come out of our mouth, the attitude, which is what we program up here to the most powerful computer that there is, and your behavior of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. You see, it starts with clarity. The clarity that you have in your process, the clarity that you have within your roadmap, the clarity that you have within your life will lead to conviction. The top sales professionals shine with conviction. They have an absolute catching belief about themselves, their product, their service, their company. That conviction is what's going to create the belief that you need. The belief that you need creates the energy. The energy that you have will create repetition. The repetition will create the service. The service creates your life's work. And your life's work is going to create freedom. So what you're all working towards is freedom. You know, there's 2 motivators that are more motivating than anything else. Does anybody know the 2 greatest motivators?
Pain.
Close, but no. They both start with C. Okay, 2 of the greatest motivators that a human needs is the need to be comfortable, to reach that next level of comfort in their life, and the need to be challenged, okay? Sometimes when your back's up against the wall, that's when you make your greatest feats. We need to have a challenge, and we need to be able to look at it like we need to reach our next level of comfort. These are the 2 C's that will motivate somebody more than anything else. But there's 2 B's that are the 2 biggest demotivators, and that's burnout and boredom. You see, if I challenge myself way too much where my anxiety is more than the certainty, I will eventually become burnt out. If I get way too comfortable and I'm sitting playing Xbox all day, then I'm eventually going to get bored. So you have to find that middle ground to be challenged and to reach that next level of comfort. Those are the greatest motivators of all.
The day you realize that attitude in selling is everything. Attitude is something you must build within yourself. You see, the most important thing you've got every day is your enthusiasm, your excitement for the job that you do in serving people. People will say yes to you more in your conviction, your excitement, your enthusiasm than anything else. And if you don't have it in here, you can't transmit it out there.
This, they drill, they rehearse. How often do you sit in front of a mirror and give your presentation and they laugh? Yet you studied so hard to pass an exam to avoid an F to impress your parents. What we're giving you is material that will impress everybody because of your income. Give them the best. They'll thank you in years ahead. That I can promise you. I spent the last $150 I had to go to a seminar, and the man teaching it, I can honestly say, all these years later, had a life-changing effect on my life. And that can happen to you when you go to a program with your mind open and you listen carefully.
No, I need the cards. I need the cards.
You do your very best to take the pearls, those certain things that are said that can change your life if you apply them. That is the real key. Take the ideas, apply them tomorrow. Have a greater income. Be the person of your dreams. Thank you so much.
So that video fires me up right there. That video fires me up because you have the ability to completely change your life with the profession of sales. But there's a lot that it takes. You got to realize over 17 years is how long it took me to be able to get to the point that I'm at. And throughout this journey, you get better or worse. There is no neutral within that process. Tom defines success as the continuous journey towards the achievement of predetermined worthwhile goals. Okay? When we talk about opposite reverse thinking, mastering success is a matter of handling failure and rejection. Okay? I want to help you think differently, and as I say this, I want you to repeat it after me. I never see failure as failure, but only as a learning experience.
I never see failure as failure, but only as a learning experience.
I never see failure as failure, but as the redirection to my perfect precision.
I never see failure as failure, but as a redirection to my perfect precision.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the negative feedback I need to change course in my direction.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the negative feedback I need to change course in my direction.
I never see failure as failure, but as the quest for the right key.
I never see failure as failure, but as the quest for the right key.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the opportunity to develop my sense of humor.
I never see failure as failure, but as the opportunity to develop my sense of humor.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the opportunity to be amused by hostile people and to be turned on by rejection.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the opportunity to be amused by hostile people and turned on by rejection.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the opportunity to perfect my techniques and perfect my performance.
I never see failure as failure, but only as an opportunity to practice my techniques and perfect my performance.
I never see failure as failure, but as a vital rehearsal in the art of success.
I never see failure as failure, but only as a vital.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the game I must play to win.
I never see failure as failure, but only as the game I must play to win.
I never see failure as failure, but as the match I relentlessly play.
I never see failure as failure, but as the match I relentlessly play.
I never see failure as failure, but the chance to make my loved ones proud.
I never see failure as failure, but the chance to make my loved ones proud.
You see, these are ways to handle the rejection. Rejection turns me on. I love hostile people. They amuse me. We flip the flop. We look for the right key. We laugh to last. We practice to ace. We wager to win. We have pride in our stride. These are ways to think differently when rejection hits you. So what I want to do is we have a couple games that I have lined up for you guys. But before we go into the actual games, I have a couple questions for you actually. Does anybody really play cards in here? Like if you just kind of play cards here and there, then it doesn't matter. Does anybody really play cards?
Like poker? What is
Like, I mean, do you play cards?
Yes.
You understand cards? Okay. Can you come up here real quick? Okay. So forgive me, what was your first name again?
Cal.
Cal, nice to meet you, brother. So Cal likes to play cards, okay? Now, Cal, what type of cards do you play?
Poker, Texas Hold'em.
Poker and Texas Hold'em.
Card Monte, stuff like that.
Okay, so I have a deck of cards here. I want you to just pull out a card without looking at it. Just pull it out. Okay, just pull it out a little bit. Sure, that's the one you want? Okay, so this is the one you want. Can you turn around real quick? Okay, so this is the card that he wants, okay? Everyone sees the card that he wants, okay? Everyone sees it? Okay, so I'm not going to touch these. Everybody sees it. Did you see the card?
No.
Are you sure we didn't set this up beforehand or anything like that? Okay. So I have a question for you. Do you really like playing cards?
I do.
And what type of cards do you play?
Texas Hold'em.
Nice.
Poker.
You're pretty good at Texas Hold'em?
Yeah.
Do you wear the glasses when you play, or?
I could.
You could?
I got a pair right there.
So how do you play? Like, my buddy told me to fold everything unless I have a good hand, wait for other players to go. What's kind of like your strategy?
Definitely a strategy. I play the field. I see what deck, cards I have to see what opportunity I could take.
So there's just a lot of skill set that involves with playing Texas Hold'em, isn't there?
Honestly, it's like 99% luck and 1% skill.
Wow, wow, cool. And I happen to forget, maybe you could help me. Do you remember, like, not including the jokers, but do you know how many cards are actually in a deck?
Yeah, 52.
52, that's what it is. I completely forgot. I apologize. And if I'm not mistaken, there's 2 different colors that are in the deck. Which colors are those?
It's going to be red and black.
That's what it is. It's the red and the black. And if you were to name the red or the black, which would you name?
Like the
Just the red or the black?
black.
Black. And through the process of elimination, that would leave you with the red remaining. With red, there's 2 different suits. Could you remind me which suits those are?
Well, there's 4 different suits.
For the reds, there's 2 or there's 4?
I guess there's 2. It's going to be the hearts and the diamonds.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. And if you were to name the hearts or the diamonds, which would you name?
The hearts.
And through the process of elimination, that would only leave you with 1 remaining option, which would be the diamonds. Now, out of the 52 cards, there's usually number cards, and then there's face cards. Would you name the number cards or the face cards?
Oh, the face cards.
And through the process of elimination, that would leave you with the numbers. Do you like the high numbers or do you like the low numbers?
I like the high numbers for sure.
Okay, and that would leave you with the process of elimination just with the low numbers. You see, as we keep eliminating, the low numbers would be the 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're stuck with the diamonds. If you were to pick the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5, pick 2 of those.
The 4 and the 5.
Which would only leave you with 2 remaining suits, which would be the 2 and the 3 of diamonds. Now, would you please name one of those 2?
The 2 of diamonds?
The 2 of diamonds. Are you sure that you want to pick the 2 of diamonds? So you pick the 2 of diamonds. Can you just pick up that card from me, actually?
This is not going to be the 2 of diamonds right now. Yeah, no, fuck.
You see what I'm showing you guys. What I'm showing you guys is, thank you. Everyone give it up for him. Everyone give it up for him. So what I showed you there was I did not show you a magic trick, okay? I did not show you a magic trick. What did I show you?
The right questions.
Effective questioning. You see, through effective questioning, I am making the decision that's truly good for him. But there's one technique that's more powerful than any other technique in selling. Does anybody know what that is? There's one technique that's more powerful than any other technique in all of sales.
It's the illusion of choice.
Nope. Control. You see, if I lose the command position, I'm going to lose the sale every single time. That's effective questioning. The more questions that I ask, the more problems that I can solve. I'm like a police officer in there. They say something, I write it down. Anything they say will be held against them. I ask certain questions, like loaded questions, to be able to actually create these decisions. So what I want to do is I want to go into a little game. But before I do that, I want to share with you guys the most important lessons that I've learned in my 17 years as a professional trick-or-treater. These are the most important lessons that I learned throughout my journey. And the first thing is, I'll show you, these are my biggest accomplishments. When I was in roofing, I did 114 transactions in 11 days. Last summer, when I was traveling, I did 74 transactions in 30 days, traveling around the United States and Canada. And then with alarms, I did 45 in 6 days. And I thought about it. What were the most important things that I learned from this process? Number 1, do business with people you want to do life with. People do not quit companies. People quit leadership. Do business with people you want to do life with. Does anybody know the one word that's more important than any other word when it comes to your life? There's one word that's more important than any other word when it comes to your life. Does anybody know what that is? The one word that's more important than any other word when it comes to your life. Starts with a P. P-U.
Persuasion?
P-U. Persuasion is P-E.
Joe's saying that.
P-U.
Purpose.
Purpose.
Yeah, Joe's saying it. Yeah.
Purpose. Purpose is the most important word when it comes to your life. What is your purpose? You're not a wandering generality, you're a meaningful specific. Do business with people you want to do life with. Number 2, alignment. 3 most important things for me in any business relationship is trust, loyalty, and longevity. Loyalty is rare. Number 3, first comes the action, then comes the motivation. It's a lot easier to act and then wait to feel than wait to feel and then decide to act. First you move, then you have the power. Number 4, you visualize something you want for inspiration, but you verbalize it for execution. Muhammad Ali says, I'm humble at home, but I'm not humble in the ring. Conor McGregor says, if you have the courage to actually speak things out loud, you're more accountable. A lot of goals that I set, I don't believe that I can hit them at the beginning. And as I start, then I realize I'm capable of doing it. A salesman is first off a man that can sell himself to himself. It's becoming the best version of yourself. We're all in the people business. Right? I'm working on all aspects of my life right now. I hop in the pool, I'm on like day 8, I don't post anything about it, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to post on my Instagram. Let's see who thinks that I can get 100 laps a day for how many days. And I just wanted to see, I had 150 people guess. I said, whoever guesses the correct answer, I'm giving $1,000 to. And I have this thing on my phone where I screenshotted all of them and I X them off after I beat them. Right now there's 70 out of the 120 that are knocked out. I created a game out of this. At the beginning, if somebody said you have to do 100 days straight with 100 laps straight, probably would be like, dude, that's wicked hard. If I didn't put it on my Instagram, then I'm going to find an excuse not to do it. Damn right, there's people that guessed 100. I'm doing 102, so I don't pay anybody out. Visualize for what you want and verbalize for the execution. Post on your Instagram, this is what I'm going to do, and have people doubt you. When it comes to goal setting, guys, stop setting goals based on numbers. You're managing history. Start setting your goals based off activity. If any one of you guys says, hey, in May, I want to be the top salesman in this office. I want to beat my record. I want to do more sales than I've ever got in my entire life. What I would tell you is I would tell you to commit to the activity. Commit now and figure it out later. Risk is the down payment for success. It's you guys making that commitment today, understanding why you're doing it, who you're doing it for, and then committing to the actual activity that it takes to get there. If I worked at Walgreens and I needed to check in every day at 11 a.m. and I checked in every day at 11:08, what would happen? You were fired. To be terrific, we must be specific. You guys have to be specific if you want to be terrific. If you say, hey, I'm going to start my day every day at 12 o'clock and I'm going to work till 8 p.m., that means that you have to be in the field by 11:59. You need to send a selfie into your group chat, and you need to be check in and check out after the time. It's something as simple as that that's in your control of saying, hey, this is the activity that I'm going to commit to. I've already committed to. I'm going to figure it out later. Now I'm accountable. But affirmation without discipline is delusion. There's 4 bones with every organization. There's jawbones. They like to talk about it all day. There's knuckle bones that aren't taking notes or not even here. Right? There's the wishbones that want to be successful, but all they do is think. You got the tailbones that are in last place. And then you got the backbones, right? The Calebs, the Joes, all the leaders within the office that are saying, hey, I'm going to help this organization. I'm going to be an example for the team. It's up for you guys to make that decision, though, not for your leaders to make it. It's up for you to say, hey, I understand the opportunity in front of me. I understand what it takes to be a professional salesman. There's not too many professional salesmen out there. To be the pro, you have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to give the time. You have to be willing to give the dedicated sacrifice that it takes. Number 5, you play the game. You watch the scoreboard. But you don't necessarily watch the scoreboard, you watch the ball. If I was playing tennis, what am I looking at the entire time? Looking at the ball. If you start ignoring the scoreboard, you know what the scoreboard does to you?
Ignores you.
It ignores you. If you pay attention to the scoreboard, what's the scoreboard going to do? It's going to pay attention to you. Include your family on the journey. Like I said, it's more about my who, not about my why. I think you get to a certain point in your life and it's not about money anymore. It's more about the impact that you can make and the legacy. Like I said, all life is growth and contribution. You learn something and you teach it. Right? If I get into a car accident and I die, I'm putting all my stuff out there. I'm giving you guys everything I have. I'm pouring myself out to you guys. Because I was always the underdog. People tell me to get a real job. We're door-to-door salesmen, baby, and we're proud of it. Come on, let me hear you. We're fucking door-to-door salesmen, right? Be proud to do what you guys do, right? Be proud. Be proud to do what you do. Next time somebody tells you to get a real job, say, I do have a real job. I'm a professional trick-or-treater, something you never could have came. I forgive you. Include your family in the journey. Number 7, temporary imbalance. That's really how you're going to be able to get ahead or behind. But if you really want to get ahead in a certain area of your life, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Number 8, you have to research and have development within your life. I like to say, play chess, not checkers. I'm always thinking 2 moves ahead. You want to hear something crazy? One of the best pieces of advice I got was this. Taylor, some of the biggest mistakes that you're going to make are happening later in your life. And if you can be aware of that, if I told you the biggest mistake that you're going to make is happening in your future, and now you're aware that you're going to make these big mistakes, if you can learn to eliminate your mistakes early, you're going to minimalize them later in your life. So I'm always thinking 2 moves ahead, right? Is the risk worth the reward? I ask myself that question. Be smart in what you do because you have to create this roadmap for the life that you want. Number 9, communication is what keeps the vision a reality. Communication is what keeps that vision a reality, the communication that you have with yourself. Like we talked about, what you're doing on a daily basis when you're off of work is going to get you into the groove when you're in work. And number 10 is vulnerability. Vulnerability is the birthplace to innovation. Be vulnerable. Understand what's going on in your life. Every one of you, I want you to take out your cell phones really quick and go to your notes. Every single one of you can take your cell phone and take out your notes. I'm about to explain to you something very powerful. Please take out your phone and take out your notes. Okay, on your notes, I want you to open up a new tab, and I want you to write this question. What is my kryptonite? Okay, what is my kryptonite? Every single one of you understands what is holding you back from getting to the top right now. You know what is your kryptonite. You know the thing that's not helping you get into the direction that you're going. You don't need to share that, but I want you to be aware of it. I want you to write it down. I want it to be something that you work on. Hey, my kryptonite is gambling. My kryptonite is eating unhealthy. My kryptonite is staying up late at night. And learn to eliminate these things from your life. How many of you guys make to-do lists on things when you want to accomplish stuff? How many of you guys make not to-do lists to stop the things that are holding you back from getting to where you want to go? Start making these not to-do lists. The reason I got so good at sales, and the reason why I have the trophies to prove it, there's a lot of people that say, hey, I was the #1 salesman, this and that, but they were number 7. There's a big difference between number 7 and number 1. Is I had no distractions. I was completely myopic. I didn't look left, I didn't look right, I didn't have friends. I had a scoreboard. I'd meet a girl and say, I'm sorry, I'm emotionally unavailable. Because the main thing for me was the game that I was playing, which was door-to-door sales. And I knew at the end of the year there was a big awards party, and it would lead to this last award for the Salesman of the Year. And they'd be called up on stage in this big convention. And I knew I wanted to have my dad there to make him proud. I wasn't letting somebody else take that from me. Somebody else that had a why because they wanted to make X amount of money or they wanted to pay off their mortgage. Dude, That Y is not even close to where my Y was. My dad's always had health conditions. We didn't come from anything. To be able to have my dad watch me get called on stage, a kid from Massachusetts, and 20 years old at the time, right? I went up against all of Utah, right? All these Mormon kids that went for a mission for 4 years. I'm like, all right, I'm taking them all out. Right? I'm the mass hole from Massachusetts. I'm about to make a play. And that's really what it comes down to. Closing is creating the decision. No single close will ever give you a close. People buy emotionally and they then defend the decision with logic, okay? So I want to play a little bit of a game right now. And what I'm going to need is I'm going to need 5 volunteers. So I need 5 volunteers to come to the front. 5 volunteers. 5 volunteers come to the front. 5 volunteers up from here on the stage. I need all of you guys to have, let's push these back just a tad. And I need you guys to have your backs this way facing me. Okay. You guys are all going to be lined up. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 position, okay? Cool. So good. Or yeah, let's do it the opposite way. So you guys face the crowd here. I'm going to face this. So this is how it's going to go. I am going to be the homeowner. You are going to be the salesman, okay? You guys are all working together as the salesman together. What is going to happen is you are going to open the presentation. When I give the first objection, then it comes to you to take over where that presentation left off. Then once I give him the objection, then it's up to you to take the presentation from there. Then it goes to here, and then we get to here, you've got to get into the house. Okay? So let's play this game. I want you to start by, I want you to have a lot of affirmation right now. So it starts with you guys all selling yourself to yourself. So I want you guys to take 15 seconds. I want you to take 15 seconds to actually affirm that this is going to be a sale. This would be ridiculous. They have a completely south-facing roof. They're getting crushed in sun. Come on, I need to hear the self-talk. Self-talk. It's a done deal. Bro, perfect.
They were dreaming about it.
They were already talking about it. This is it. This is it. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Done deal. Done deal. Done deal. And you guys are going to pass this. Okay, so you're going to knock the door. Hey man, can I help you?
Hey, good afternoon. I'll be super quick. I'm just giving out some information of the changes with the utility company. I don't know if you had a chance to see this yet.
Yeah, we haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, so I'll be super brief. It's actually in regards to the changes with the rate increases. FPL just got approved to increase the rates for the next 3 years. It's causing a big problem in the community. I don't know if you've seen they're doing a couple underground work. They're changing some light posts around the area.
Okay.
Have you guys experienced any outages or anything like that recently?
Yeah, is this solar?
Absolutely, it's about solar, but it's really important. It's different from what you've been seeing before. So you've already looked into it?
Oh yeah, we've looked into it. It didn't make sense for us. We had a guy. You guys come like every 6 months.
Okay, yeah. So what did you see when you were looking at it 6 months ago that didn't make sense to you?
It just didn't make sense. It's just not something that we want to do at this time. We're going to actually be moving in the next year.
Yeah, dude, totally. You wouldn't do something that prevented you guys from moving, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't do it if we couldn't move.
Got it. So when you guys do move, when do you guys plan on doing that, by the way?
Probably within the next couple of years.
Dude, that's awesome. Okay, where do you guys plan on going?
We're probably going to head north, actually, but it's just Miami is just too much traffic. We don't really like it too much down here.
Dude, totally get it. I'm with you. So when you do move and you go up north, you're not going to take FPL with you, right?
No.
Okay, same thing happens with the solar. It's fully transferable name to the next homeowner. So all the benefits and warranties that you do have, it goes over to the next homeowner as well.
You know what?
So,
can you leave me with a business card?
Yeah, it works a little bit different than that. What we're going to do is we have a specialist in the area. Are you available to sit down now, or do you think tomorrow works better for you?
No, definitely not going to be able to sit down or anything like that. Do you have like a brochure or something like that?
Brochure, we don't really do that. What I'm going to do is let me get your phone number.
I don't feel comfortable giving out my phone number or anything like that.
100%. You guys looking to save money, or?
It's not. We don't really care about money or anything. It's just we're not going to get into anything. It's just like we've looked into this and like we're not going to go into debt to go solar.
Hey, no, I mean, I totally get it. Nobody really wants to go into debt to go solar. The main reason is actually just put yourself, your house, your family in a much better position. It's really going to be super simple, man. How much did you say you're paying? Like $300 a month?
My bill's like 450, like 500. It's not really that big of a deal though.
No. I totally get it. I mean, it's definitely not that big of a deal right now. 450, 500, same here. What's really going on though is that's going to go by 30%. So here in the next couple of years, you're going to be paying about 650. What I want to help you do is just help you control an operational cost at your house here. It's going to be super simple. If you just want to pull up your bill, we'll just be able to step right in. I'll kind of show you how this all works, show you how we can do this with keeping you out of debt.
All right, yeah, come on in. Boom, let's give it up. All right. Good. All right, so playing a little game right here, right? Remember a couple things, guys. Like what I like to do is a lot of reverse selling. Instead of telling them all the reasons why they should do it, I like to tell them all the reasons they shouldn't do it, right? So it's called a reverse selling. It's a technique to really gain and capture their attention. So like on the last one where I said like I don't want to go into debt, you could utilize a line like this. Before I explain to you all the reasons why so many people have gotten involved with this program, I first want to explain to you the reasons you guys would never do this. If I was sitting here trying to convince you to go into any sort of debt to put a solar system on your roof, you probably would have already slammed the door in my face, especially if that debt had a loan attached to it that lasted for like 25 years and there was a bunch of interest and penalties and fees. But the number one reason why you would never go solar is if the system only had a manufacturer guarantee and not full coverage. So what I'm doing is a little bit more selective. How many years have you guys even lived here? You see a little bit of a takeaway. It's more of a push and a pull than saying, oh, these are all the reasons why you should go solar, okay? So let's give it up for them. Nice work, guys. Okay, new game. I need 5 more volunteers up here. 5 more volunteers, come on. 5 more. 5 more players playing the game. It's okay. It's okay.
It's a done deal.
It doesn't matter if you know anything about solar. You're literally helping people. It's like there's no way you can hurt these people's situations. So here's the thing, man, is I need you guys. We're walking up to the house. It is a huge house.
Oh, it's a big system.
Huge house. The back side of the roof is completely south. There's nothing, no rafters, nothing. These people, there's 2 cars in the driveway. It's like a perfect situation, but this is like a 30 kilowatt system. You guys have like a $20,000 lottery ticket sitting right in front of you. It would be ridiculous for them to want to pay the utility company. So I need 15 seconds of self-talk. You guys are selling it together. Come on.
This is a done deal. It's absolutely ridiculous that they don't do this. They've been thinking about this. They're doing this today. This is the same day right now. They're doing this. This is a for sure done deal. This is going to happen.
They've never heard this the way that I'm about to explain.
Exactly. We're totally different here.
What we're doing is completely different.
Completely different, right?
Hey, can I help you, man? What's this about?
Yeah, man, super sorry to bother you. My name's Cole. I've been allocated to the area. Some of your neighbors, they've been complaining. It's just about some of the taxes and fees being added to your bill. Did you see what you guys are being forced to pay now?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so
It's all on auto pay.
Okay, gotcha. So FPL, they're basically forcing you guys to pay for solar. It doesn't mean it's going to go on the roof.
Okay.
They're just switching their power plants to solar fields.
Okay.
So how that's going to affect you guys, do you know roughly, like ballpark, how much your average bill is here?
Yeah.
What would you guys say it is? Like 150, 200, 250? Where would you guys say you're at?
I mean, we pay like a good amount.
Okay, gotcha. So if you're anything like your neighbors around the 150 to 200 range, your bill's going to go up 30% in taxes and fees.
Okay.
So before I head out here, because I have a lot of your neighbors to speak with,
Okay.
do you guys like what you guys pay? Do you like paying those taxes and fees, or would you guys rather pay less?
Is this about solar panels?
Yeah, it used to be about solar. Now it's just if you guys are getting paid properly. Did you got the notice in the mail about the changes?
Yeah, we got some note. I don't know, man. Like, but I have to get going. Can you just get to the point? What's this about?
Yeah, I'll show you. It's just about how your home's going to be charged differently now. All the homes, they're going to be charged more because of the fees and the surcharges.
Okay.
So that's just letting you know that your bill's going up in turn of the local utility projects going on in the neighborhood.
Yeah, if you want to just leave me with some information, and then we can get back to you guys.
Yeah, totally, man. But I'm not sure I could even help you yet. I'm not here to waste anyone's time. Before I get going, how much do you pay here? You're the one that handles the bill, right?
It's like $300-400.
$300-400?
300, yeah, 400.
Okay, and that's like the average throughout the year?
Probably something like that. It's
Okay.
not really that big of a deal. It's just all on auto pay.
Okay, got it. So we were actually coming by your house specifically here. There's something I wanted to show you real quick. So the reason why I'm coming by your house is you guys are getting blasted with sun on the south side of the house. You're getting crushed with sun all day. What that means for you is that your roof setup is a lot better than the rest of the
Yeah, it's just
neighbors.
really not that big of a deal for me, man. Like, I appreciate it, but it's just not that big of a deal.
Yeah, Taylor, right?
Yeah.
So my name is Mike. I'm actually pretty new here.
Okay.
So I don't know all the exact details, but I know we were looking at your house. It's south-facing, right?
Yeah, it is.
You got this massive roof. Man, look, it's gorgeous, right? How long have you guys lived here for?
We've lived here for 7 years, but how much is this going to cost me?
7 years? Well, I mean, the cost, it depends on the setup, right? We offer a few different options depending on wattages and whatnot.
The
Lots
main
of
reason
different
is I
options
just
there.
don't want to pay money out of pocket. You know, like, I don't have any money to do this right now.
Okay, cool. Well, like I said, I am pretty new here, so I'm not familiar with all the financing options. But if you want, we can sit down, I can learn a little bit more, then I can talk to one of my supervisors who really knows the industry, and then we can kind of learn together and find out what the best options for you really are.
That sounds really good, but what company do you even work for?
So I'm actually with Florida Electric and Solar. You might have actually seen us around. We've started to put up some systems in the area.
Yeah.
We're one of the highest rated Florida solar companies. You can find us on Google, about 600 reviews right now. We're doing great work, and we're really just trying to buy into the neighborhood even more. So we're trying to make it the best possible option for you specifically. That's where our no upfront cost option comes in. So we don't want you to take that money out of pocket.
So it just sounds way too good to be true. No upfront costs?
Yeah, of course it sounds too good to be true. I guess my main question to that would be is why did you choose FPL for your power?
Well, we never had a second option.
Exactly. They're the last monopoly, right? They're America's last monopoly. So the reason why you guys are able to get such a good deal on this and why it sounds too good to be true.
So how do you guys make money?
So the way we make money is with the no upfront cost. Instead of that, what we do is we take the tax incentive.
One of my neighbors had a bad experience, and I just don't want to do this right now.
Yeah, of course, man. You would never want to do anything that puts you in a bad experience, right?
No.
What happened with them?
They had a leak, and they had an extra bill from the utility company. They're still paying 2 bills right now.
Okay, so obviously you don't want your roof to leak, right? Other than the roof and the 2 bills, is there anything else?
No, I just probably am not ready to do this right now.
Okay, perfect, man. I'm step 1. I'm not ready to do this either. I'm not really sure that you should go solar yet. All I really do is I look at how many kilowatt hours your home consumes, so that way I can show you exactly how much money you can put back into your pocket if this is a fit for you. Do you get your bill online or by mail?
I just need to talk to my wife before I make any sort of decisions.
Yeah, I totally understand. When I talk to my wife, I like having all the facts laid out, right? So if you allow us, we would love to sit down 5 minutes of your time. We'll run over exactly what we can offer, how much money you can save, how much money you can earn back, and then you can go to your wife with all the facts, right? And then you sound smart.
You know what? Come on, man. You sold me. All right, let's give it up for him. Let's give it up for him. And what was your first name?
It was Mike.
Mike. Everyone, let's give it up for Mike, right? Mike's brand new, but if you notice, Mike, I could tell specifically with Mike, like, he really cared. Like, the only objection you face is trust, right? I fully trusted him. Like, I'm new. You could tell him how he's using his voice. Very good from everybody that came and presented. One thing that I want you guys to understand that's very important is I want you to understand this analogy when you're selling solar. Every single time that you knock on somebody's door, what they have is a pebble in their shoe. We've all walked with a pebble in our shoe. We went to the beach. We just keep walking with it because we don't want to untie the shoe, dump out the pebble. Every single person that you talk to about solar, when they give you an objection, which is a tactic used by the buyer to stall or prolong the decision, they are walking with a pebble in their shoe at that time. It is your job to turn the pebble into a shoe into a glass shard. And when they have a glass shard in their shoe, what are they going to do? They're not taking another step. If there's no pain that you create with the situation, there will be no change. No pain, No change. All right, let's give it up for these guys. All right. So I want to give a minute, and I wanted to express gratitude for you guys even having me, for you guys taking the time to even listen to the training that we have here today. And I want to let you guys know that you guys have something really special here, and I don't say that to everybody. You know, I've known Caleb, you know, literally since he started getting into solar. You know, I've been working with Joe for over a year. And the one thing that really resonates me with these two individuals is, like, these guys work really hard, and sometimes you might not be able to see the sacrifice that goes into it, but next to the word success is sacrifice. And, like, I know these guys truly care about you. They truly want you guys to be the best. They truly want to see you guys develop. There's a reason why they, you know, invest into being better at Salesman. There's a reason why they have me here today talking with you guys. And remember what that trunk of that tree was. The trunk of the tree is thinking differently, reverse thinking. I never see failure as failure, but as the game I must play to win. I never see failure as failure, but only as the opportunity to be turned on by rejection and amused by hostile people. This is just a game that you guys play. And the more fun that you have doing it, the more that it's worth it. And if you're not having fun, there's no game to play. So I want to thank you guys for the time, and I want to turn it over to Mr. Joe Youssef.
Make sure he's turned up on the iPad there, guys. Volume up.
Not yet, but we're getting there. All right, hold up, Joe. All right.
All right, hey, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, awesome, you guys. So we got Miami and Tampa in the house. Guys, please make some fucking noise. Taylor, thank you so much, guys. One thing I want to just let you guys know, you know, Knockstar has definitely changed my life. And I credit a lot of my success, my word tracks, my tactics, my mindset to Taylor and what he's accomplished. And he's just been a person that I've been chasing for a very long time. I mean, one of the notes that we say, you know, that we kind of took today is people are looking for comfort and people are looking for ways to be challenged. And if you guys all know me, I never ever desire comfortability
Give me
ever.
a set of these, and then give me a full set of these.
But one thing that Taylor has always done for
100,
me
but I just need a set of
is
those, just
the
a single set.
The GOAT, and the greatest of all time has been around Taylor McCarthy, and it still does because he continues to show up, he continues to outwork,
They're all in order. They're all in order. They're all in
strategize,
order.
outmentor, and just really just do more than the average human being where you
This is a
think
full
he's a
set.
psychopath.
Starts with
And this
that.
goes to the thing that we embody, which
Just
is
keep
the
them all in
Mamba
order. They're
mentality,
all already
right?
in order.
Which is
All you
becoming
have
the
to do
best version of
is you look
ourselves,
at the first one
separating
and then go
ourselves
to
from
the second one.
average,
He's just
and
Spanish.
raising our
I'll go through it.
standards. And if you guys look at Taylor, Taylor's a person that not only do I look up to, but he gave me a little bit of an ego check too. I can't tell you guys how many times I thought, I was doing something, and then I come and I find out what Taylor McCarthy has accomplished, and it just gives me an opportunity to humble myself and allow me to get better. And that's why, after joining Knockstar, I know that not only has he impacted my life, but Caleb and a lot of the stuff that we disseminate down to you guys and train you guys on, it all comes from Taylor. And it's not just us. Most people in the entire solar industry, pest control, anything that is affiliated with door-to-door, believe it or not, comes from the things that Taylor has taught. And the reason why he is now moving into keynote speaking, and he has paid thousands and thousands of dollars to come in and drop value, is because his systems work, and he has made impact on so many people's lives, so many salespeople's lives. And now he has now created a platform where the top 1%ers all get to come in, meet with Tom Hopkins and him every week, and learn how to be better and progress every single day. And it's just crazy to see the results that I've had in my career and and some of you guys that actually do jump on Knockstar and do watch the YouTube videos and do train hard, like, I would love to have, have the ability to be the next Taylor McCarthy in the industry and impact, people in different industries and do that. So, Taylor, I thank you for what you've done, bro. You're top 1%. I know everybody here, wants to understand the recipe, and, there's no elevator to success. It just requires a lot of work, a lot of training, and a lot of software updates that we have to do to this computer and rewire the way that we think, and you'll get the results that you're looking for. And it didn't happen overnight. Taylor's been doing this for over a decade, if not more, and now he's being highlighted and recognized as the GOAT. So it didn't happen overnight. So, brother, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to invest in our team. We love you. We appreciate you. Next time Taylor comes to the office, we're going to make sure that he's in the field with you guys. Okay? And you guys have my word on that. So, again, round of applause for Taylor.
Yeah, and I want to actually show you guys.
We're going to have a goddamn problem. So don't do that. Be intentional. I love y'all. And, let's close this out the right way. Taylor, are you going to do any Q&A or you got to go?
Yeah, no, I want to show everybody kind of the materials and kind of what my formula is when I'm going to knock the door, like the actual things that I carry when I'm out there. And, the first thing that I do is you have to sell the destination, not the plane. That's why I have a negative electric bill with all the fees and surcharges. I have a slick that just shows how the grid works compared to how solar works, super basic. This is typically how I lead the presentation, is I have the veto from the governor that literally states that because of our worst inflation in 40 years, Florida should not contribute to the financial crunch that our citizens are experiencing. That's why he withheld his approval, right? He vetoed this bill legitimately. But what's happening is the utility companies are legitimately just undermining it, and they raised the rates 3 times last year. So it's not like you're up playing Xbox all day. And I'm utilizing a story to create the pain, like I talked about the pebble in the shoe. Then I have option A, which is the mercy of the power company. Option B, which is producing power on site. Or option C, where they can't do it because they get denied. A lot of fine print here. If we cannot utilize the money, the amount you give to the utility company, we don't even fund the project. The whole goal is how I can take you from the red to the blue into complete independence. Ever since they introduced the new technology from the old stuff to the new stuff, that's how I introduced that. When it comes to solar specifically, there's 6 main questions: roof move, cost, service, savings, ownership. Then I cover those. These are the new slicks that I just came up with. They're PPA slicks for PPA or lease specifics. I really love this slick. It's reasons why you would never go solar. So if somebody's like, solar, 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 it's like, look, before I explain to you all the reasons why so many people are involved with this program, I first want to explain to you the reasons you would never do it. These are the ways that you guys would be rewarded, and I'm actually breaking it down to the ridiculous for them. All I really do is I create a chart where I show you an apples to apples comparison. We can take all the emotion out of this and see if it's a logical situation. What we would propose is utilizing you guys as a reference point where we produce the power on site, and we would actually put you into a first class option. And then I show them the difference between basic economy, economy, premium economy, and then first class where there's no loan involved. The 10 main reasons people go solar: the can we pay process, which determines whether or not we pick their home. Inadequate explanations is a reason why people don't go solar. Control and predictability, what their potential savings could be, how much they're going to go up over time, cost to maintain the grid. This piece of paper was the main reason I got 74 sales in 30 days. I can break it down to the ridiculous for them, and I can show them an apples to apples comparison for what they're paying to the utility company compared to what they pay solar, these specific questions. And the last slick that I carry is the book Green Eggs and Ham. Right, I used it a lot yesterday. Sir, may I have your permission to just be blunt with you? Have you ever read this book? What about page 17, sir? Because I know you probably read the first 16 pages, but on the 17th page, he actually says yes, and he liked it. You got to have fun with it. And if you're not having fun, it is not worth it. Keep in mind, I am not here to sell you guys slicks, but if any of you guys want, I have probably about 20 sets with me right now. I have 4 different locations, so they'll go regardless. but these are the type of things that will help you. So after the Q&A, I can go over some questions with you guys right now. And after the Q&A, if any of you guys wants to get any of the material that I created, we have a few in the back. So my question to you guys before we go into the Q&A is, do you guys feel like the training was worth it today? Yeah. Do you feel like you got something out of it? Do you feel like you didn't just come to the training? Thank you. Like really, this is my life's work, guys. Like a majority of my life, I've done this, door-to-door sales, and it's how I provide for my family. This is my community. This is like my family. I look at a lot of you guys like my younger brothers and my younger sisters. So my question to you is, what are the actionable items and what are the takeaways that you guys have from today's meeting that you're going to apply into your life?
Attitude, behavior. Just being aware of what your kryptonite is and eliminating that shit.
Persistence is key, never giving up, and just every no leads me closer to a yes.
Persistence.
Commit now, figure it out later.
Commit now and figure it out later. Risk is the down payment for success.
You have to train and practice.
What was it?
That you have to train and practice.
You have to train and practice, yeah.
How could I impact my family?
How can you impact your family? Understand there's two people in your life, people that will inspire you or people that drain you. Surround yourself around the people that inspire you. Put your energy where you have influence. Not to-do list. Great.
Yeah, I love how you were saying that you are the main decision maker if you go solar or not.
Yeah, of course. My attitude, my belief, my conviction.
Keeping control in the sale.
Keeping control of the sale.
We're not salesmen, we're servants.
We're not salesmen, we're servants.
Make it a game.
Make it a game. Play the game.
Clarity leads to freedom.
Clarity leads to freedom. Great.
It's not all about trust.
Right? It's not just about trust. You have to earn their respect. Good. All right. Anybody from the Zoom call? Do you guys want some input? I know I want to get some feedback from you guys. So if we could get.
I got one. Be egotistically humble.
You like that one, Joe?
Dude, that's fire. That's a way to spin it. Be egotistically humble.
Egotistically humble. All right. Anybody else from the Zoom? I want to hear from you guys. Anybody else from the Zoom that's got a takeaway?
Larry, go ahead.
The biggest motivators and the biggest demotivators, how they can cross-reference.
Love it.
Yeah, I would say people don't buy because they understand. People buy because they feel understood.
Great. Anybody else from the Zoom?
Your decisions will decide your wealth.
Your decisions will decide your wealth. How many of you guys ever...
And if you don't know who J. Douglas Edwards is, you better know.
Yeah. How many of you guys have ever made an emotional decision when your highs got too high or your lows got too low? Right? Anyone that didn't raise your hand, please tell me the secret. So there's something that I learned because when I was 18, the best piece of advice I heard was maintain an even keel. Don't let the highs get too high. Don't let the lows get too low. And I was passing a church in Flint, Michigan, and it said, "He who angers you controls you." And that's another nugget to help you think differently. He who angers you controls you. When you're about to get upset, when you're about to get off your even keel, he who angers me controls me. You're not going to win, right? And then just focus on, what you're doing and why you're doing it. So let's go into any questions that you guys have. And then any of you guys that need any materials, I'll be in the back hanging out. Question in the back.
Yeah, so these months where you're just absolutely crushing it, you said to commit to the activities.
Yep.
So what activities are you committing to?
Committing to the hours. So what I mean is my check-in window is going to be 9 to 9:30 at the gas station. 9 to 9:30, I have to be at that gas station in that 30-minute window. I need to fill up my cooler with ice, and I need to get all my drinks, and I need to set up my mobile 7-Eleven. 9:30 to 10 a.m. is my first window that I need to be on a door, belly to belly with a homeowner. I'm spot knocking early in the day. 9:30 to 10 is my check-in window. I have to be on a door before 10 a.m. 10 to 12 is bonus time for me. The first 2 hours after my first 30-minute knocking session, like sometimes I'm driving house to house. Sometimes I'm only knocking on little pockets of people with cars in the driveway. It's early in the day. I do not knock on every single door. People have challenged me on this, and they're like, I just made a sale with a guy in the garage and there was no car in the driveway. I'm like, bro, I have too. But the point being is if we had the same skill set and I can put myself in front of more people, who's going to sell more? So early in the day, I'm looking for signs of life. I'm a hunter. I'm looking for cars in the driveway. I'm looking for the perfect situation because 10 to 12 is like I'm playing cornerback or I'm playing safety and I'm looking for an interception. 12 to 3 is my first shift. 3 to 6 is my second shift. 6 to 9 is my final shift. And then I set my appointments up after 9 p.m. so I can maximize my time in the field. The day that I got 7 self-gens in a day, I had 3 appointments, one appointment at like 7 a.m., 1 appointment at 9 a.m., and then I had 1 appointment at like 9 or 10 p.m., and then I had like 3 or 4 same days, but I had set up the other accounts way earlier and way later in the day. The reason I break it up into shifts is because I create a different day out of each day. It keeps me fresh, that it's not like, oh, I worked till 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. and I exhausted all my energy and now I can't actually produce. But that's really what I do when I say I commit to the activity, is I have these little check-in windows. But like for you guys, it's as simple as something like, you know, like for example, right, today, if you were like, hey, no matter what, like blood commitment, no matter what happens, if there's traffic, if I get a flat tire, whatever, I guarantee you I'm going to be in the field by 3 p.m. today, right? And maybe it's 2:05, but you take your selfie and you put it into the group chat. Check in on time. You said you're going to work till 9 p.m. tonight. That doesn't mean that at 8:56 you can take a selfie checkout because then you didn't do what you said you were going to do. But if you actually committed to the activity and focused on the activity that happens during the day or during the week or during the month, if you're like, hey, my goal is to put in a solid, 50 hours in the field, 8 out of 50 completed. I got 10 leads today, I got 2 same days. I'm starting to build my momentum. Track the hours that you're working and be intentional about it, because to be terrific, you must be specific. So that would be my answer on how I manage the activity.
Thank you.
Of course.
Being the top door-to-door guy, what do you prefer? You do setting or closing?
I've always self-genned, so I set and I close. Okay. I've never had a setter where I've just been able to go out and have somebody else setting for me. For me, the reason why I self-gen is because I have full control over the whole sale, and a good majority of my transactions are self-gen, same-day walk-ins, so it's not like, I'm on the door and then I say, hey, let me design a system, I'll be back in an hour. It's, hey, I already have the design 96% of the way complete. All I have to do are 2 things, show you where the panels would be laid out on the roof and what your bill would have been last month. Like I mentioned, I was the one that put together the report. What was so unique when I kind of designed everything was because the back gets so much sun, I was able to use a lot less panels to maximize the efficiency. Now the only thing I need to know is roughly, I don't need to know the heart attack bill, but do you know roughly what the average bill comes to? $250. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to text Leon. He's my lead engineer. He's going to get me the last 4% of that design in about 4 minutes. And then we go over these questions. They're called can we pay questions. All I'm really going to do is I'm going to fill out this piece of paper. We can take all the emotion out of it and see if it's a logical situation where we compare everything apples to apples. I'm going to actually leave you with this one, and then we go over these questions. They're called can we pay questions, which will determine whether or not we pick your home. How many years, again, did you say you've lived here? 12? Okay, perfect. I don't know if there's like a small corner of a table where I can kind of put my stuff down. Actually, do you need me to take off my shoes? And I take off one shoe and then I look down. And I've never had a situation where somebody's like, oh no. I always get into the house like that.
That's amazing.
So that's what I do. I don't believe in 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. I believe in taking the sales presentation as far as you possibly can every single time. Even if you're setting it up for a closer, there's nothing wrong with that. But if I was only a setter and I knew that I needed to alley-oop for my closers, I would actually be getting into every house and I would be setting the appointment at the kitchen table, not setting the appointment at the door if I have the ability to do that, because that's going to how you set a really sticky appointment. That's how I'd answer that one.
How do you handle the homeowner's insurance objection when you're closing?
So if it's a lease or if it's ownership?
If it's either or.
So typically, depending on your leasing option, the system is insured. Sometimes I'll pivot away from the question, and I'll explain, like, if it's above an 11.7 kilowatt, the tier 2 insurance, that would be something that you guys would have to do. But because the system isn't 11.7 kilowatt, you guys don't actually have to make that change in your insurance policy. Now, typically, if they're like, oh, my insurance company is going to drop me, then I ask them why they picked that insurance provider in the first place. And I might ask them a question. So what you're telling me is your insurance company is going to drop you, because the problem with that is right now you just have horizontal, like, here's the problem is right now you just have something called vertical rafters on the roof. What we would do is add horizontal rafters with the actual panels. I'm going to give you an example. If I went to the beach and I hung out for 8 hours, keep in mind I'm Irish, and I put no suntan lotion, what do you think is going to happen to my skin? It's going to burn. So it's the same way with your roof. The shingles are being beat on with sun all day. By having the panels to protect the roof, what's going to happen is it's going to turn a 20-year shingle into a 30-year shingle for the simple fact that the sun isn't beating on the roof all day. So I'm using analogies a lot of the time to help them think differently. Typically what I do with that insurance question is I ask them why they picked the insurance. So what you're telling me is your insurance company would drop you if you put panels on the roof that would actually protect the house. Why would you have them in the first place if they were actually saying that they were going to drop you? Typically, I try to bypass that question, though. It's like, yeah, that's called a tier 2 insurance. That's typically if the system was a higher size. That is something that is required. But you guys should all have some sort of, like, insurance guy. Like, when I was in Massachusetts, I had a tree guy. I knew my tree guy every time that was going to cut the tree. You should have your insurance guy. You should be able to earn the respect of the homeowner by taking their hand and helping them through that process.
Handling trust in the beginning of the process. So you have a door.
Yep.
So like, for example, whatever they heard negative experiences or they through family or friends. So leaks, 2 bills, whatever the case was, just a strong distrust because of a negative experience from someone else.
Yep. So there's a couple ways that I handle it. First off is, I'm going to tell you a couple things. First off, what I notice a lot of people do at the door, hey, how are you? My name's Caleb, or hey, my name's Taylor. I say my full name every time. Oh, hi, sir, my name is Taylor McCarthy, right? I'm always using my full name to build trust. Typically, if they give me an objection like that, the first time I hear the objection, you want to know what I say? The first time I hear an objection?
Bypass it.
Yeah, you know how I bypass it?
Knowledge.
No, just give me an objection.
Not interested.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll just keep going. That's it, those words. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I was saying, we were going to pick 2 more homes. We were considering this home. You might know Mary, actually. She has the German Shepherd. His name is Toby. But they're actually one of the ones we're considering to use as like what we like to refer to as a model home. An objection is a tactic used by the buyer to stall or prolong the final decision. So that's why the first time I hear the objection, I might say, yeah, that's the thing. Maybe if you bring it up again, like, no, I had a leak, I'm not doing this. I will use this technique. You obviously have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? Okay, you obviously have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? Going back to people don't buy because they understand what I'm saying. They buy because they feel understood. How do I qualify? With a formula called needs. What do they have now? What do they enjoy most about what they have now? What would they alter? Who's the decision maker? And what is the solution?
So the back end of that is now you're in the close, and then you feel like they're starting to stall.
Yep.
And it's unspoken, but you're feeling like, hey, maybe I lost their trust somewhere in this process.
So a sale is a series of sales. So when I move to the next point of the sale, I always like to temperature check. Does that kind of make sense? Does that make sense? How are you guys feeling about all this so far? Are you guys pretty excited? Right? If you don't get the right answers, then you need to back it up a step. And those are temperature check or trial test closing questions. Typically, when people are giving me a hard time, I am the biggest one that is going to take it away and have a demeanor, I don't care if they do this. I'm not interested. Yeah, of course, sir. You don't want to buy anything, right? Right? I have different ways to handle it. I literally had a woman yesterday giving me a hard time, right? I'm not selling anything. I'm a servant. You know what I said to her? I said, Miss, this is not a sales process. You're actually starting to make me feel a little uncomfortable. Who took the control of the conversation there? And she can't say, well, no, you're making me feel uncomfortable. You came to my door. I already said it, lady. Sales is a Broadway show played by psychologists. That's what it is. Psychology of yes starts with you. Yeah, Joe?
Taylor, got a quick question for you, buddy. If we haven't touched base on it, but what about, hey, you're the 10th person to knock on my door. I know it's solar. We're not interested at all. You're the 10th person. We're not doing anything. Go.
Yeah, this is completely different. Obviously, the reason why you haven't done this up until this point, I could sit here and tell you all the reasons why it would make sense, but instead I'd actually tell you the reasons that you would never do this. And pretty cut and dry, if I was sitting here trying to convince you to go into debt to put a solar system onto your roof, that's probably something you would never partake in if that debt had a loan attached to it and had a bunch of interest. But I think the number one reason that's deterred so many people from getting started with this program is paying all of the upfront costs and not knowing that this thing was fully covered. Now what I'm doing is a little bit different. We're utilizing a few guys as references, or what we like to refer to as model homes. How many years have you guys actually lived here in the house? 15. Okay, so the way that this program differs from all the other people that have came to your house and tried to convince you to buy a solar system is we would actually assume the loan on the system. We would actually buy the system. We would propose an idea to utilize your roof as a power plant where you'd produce your power on site and no longer be at the mercy of the power company. Now, what was the main reason that you picked FP&L?
I don't think anybody had a choice, man.
Yep, and you guys weren't thinking about closing out the account, correct?
Right.
Because bottom line, you're going to fall into one or two categories. Either category one, you know somebody that's already made this decision and put the solar on the roof and got involved. Or category two, it just sounds way too good to be true. That's why you've never done anything, and you're probably sitting there like, what's the catch? The catch comes down to one thing specifically. FP&L is the monopoly. We've never had a second option. So if you pulled out on the main road by the Dadeland Mall and there was a big billboard and it said that a new utility company opened up in Miami, you could be more economical on the bill but have control and predictability, what do you think people would say?
Yeah, no, they probably would lean towards that.
Yeah, so I'm just the first step of the process. Keep in mind we haven't picked your home yet. However, I was the one that put together the report for this location. So this is 651 Spring Road. It's easier if I show you. This is the pre-report. If you look from 7 in the morning all the way till 8 p.m., the whole back side of the house gets literally crushed in sun. So what was so unique when I was in the office putting together the report was I was able to use a lot less panels to maximize the efficiency in the home. Now, roughly, I don't need to know the exact amount, and I'm not talking about the heart attack bill in the summer, but if I was Bob Barker and we were on the show Price is Right, what would you say your average monthly amount that you pay for power is? Just roughly.
I'd say about 300.
300 on a month? So do you see like $500 bills in the summer, or are they a little less than that?
Yeah, they're a little less. They're like between 450, 480 was the highest.
Okay, so on a $350 bill, like right around that average, what I'm going to do is I'm going to text Leon, my lead engineer. He's going to have the full report ready for me in about 3 minutes. I don't know if there's like a corner of a table. All I really do today are two things. I'm just the first step of this process. It's not like a doorstep decision. I would show you exactly where the panels would be laid out and what your bill would have been last month. Is it easier if I take off my shoes, or is there like a small corner of a table where I can kind of put my stuff down? It just makes it a little easier for me.
Builds like that internal urgency inside me. Well, okay, I'm talking to a trusted authority now. Like knowing it, like you're just different.
I'm going in a direction the entire time, and no matter what they say, I'm still going in that direction. I have a direction that I need to take their hand. If I was at a 5-year-old and I need to walk them across the street, am I going to let them follow them, or they're going to follow me? I'm taking their hand and I'm showing them the line in the direction that we have to go. All I do is I put a line down the middle of a piece of paper, I show you an apples to apples comparison, we can take all the emotion out of this and see if it's a logical situation. I don't believe in high pressure. I'm not a used car salesman. The reason that I'm so persistent is because when I put together the report, if I go through the process with you, you would do it. It's just the hardest part of my job is timing. I'm just looking for the time when we both have it. But if I show you the apples to apples comparison, the idea is we could take all the emotion out of this and just see if it's a logical situation for you. And if it was a logical situation for you, it'd obviously be something you'd be open to, wouldn't it? Right? What is that called? A tie down. Wouldn't it, couldn't it, shouldn't it? That was one, wasn't it? It's a question at the end of a sentence that demands a yes. And if you don't tell the story like it's a big deal, then you're sounding like everybody else, and then people will tend not to listen to you. So that's my advice to you guys, and really the way that I would answer that question, Joe.
I got one for you.
Yep.
So there's a line that says conformity drives cowardness, and everyone in this room, they fit into different groups. There's someone that just started that is 1-2 deals a month. There's someone that's 5 deals. There's someone that's 10 deals. There's someone that's 20 deals. What, from your perspective, what do you think elevates people to the next level every time?
Speed of the leader, speed of the team. The team will do 50% of what the leaders do right and 1,000% of what the leaders do wrong. Besides the CEO of the company, maybe as equally important as the CEO of a company, is going to be one individual called the rabbit. The rabbit is not the easiest job in the world, but the rabbit is one of the most important positions of a company. And that was always my role, as I was the rabbit of the team. If you guys all went on a blitz and you're in a foreign place, right, and the rabbit of the team does 20 sales in the week, you're going to have guys that do 10 a week. If the rabbit of the team does 5 on the week, everybody else is going to do 2 or 3. That's how it works. Speed of the leader, speed of the team. But what happens is, like, I'm out there on a blitz earlier last year, and I had a brand new kid in there. It was like his 3rd week. And I had 14 sales 4 days into it. And this kid had 6 sales 4 days into it. And I come back to the office, and he's all worried, and he's like talking, and he's like studying. And he's like, somebody's like, what's wrong? He's like, bro, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, bro. I only got 6 sales right now. Taylor's got 14. I got to get better. But what happens if I didn't go on that blitz and the new guy was beating everybody with 6? Oh, wow, I'm in 1st place. I must be doing great. So it's like compromising on talent within a team is toxic. So that's why, like, alignment, one thing I talked about is like fully trusting, having the loyalty and like the longevity of what you guys are doing. I think it's really important. So really the question is who's going to be the rabbit coming up in May? One of you guys is going to have to step up, you know, and that person that steps up and commits to the activity will pace the entire team.
Okay, how do you alleviate the bad reputation that solar panels has impacted here in homeowners in Florida?
Yeah.
Because what happened, it's that sometimes you're talking, and then when you're talking and you haven't said solar, they're listening,
Yeah.
and it seems like they want to do it. As soon as you say solar panels, it's like, no, not solar, I'm not gonna do that. So it's just, they're listening, and they're actively like, they want to do it, but it's just because it's solar.
Yep.
And all the bad experiences that everybody had. And even though sometimes you say, I know you don't want to work with those people, right? I mean, that's why we're here, and how well we can execute this project, but that's sometimes not enough. So that means that they're not a good fit.
Well, no, you have to have certain testimonials, like, and you have to have certain lines, and like I have lines like this, like, especially when people are like, you're the 7th person that came to my door, I like to say this. Sir, I have empathy for you. I really do. Because what's happening is all these people that worked at 7-Eleven last week are coming to your door and trying to convince you to go solar, and it probably just didn't make sense, and you got confused and you said no. So all these people that had bad experiences are because they didn't actually deal with a professional, okay? I'm going to tell you it's good no matter what. I work for the company, but all I will do is I'll show you a couple videos, and I always play this video all the time. When I show that video, I can turn people big time. But at the same time, you have to get your own testimonials, and you have to say, you know, there's one of the biggest factors with solar is not only the company that you go with, but also the individual that's going to be there on every step of the process. Now, keep in mind, no news is good news. The utility company is going to drag their feet, and one thing I'm very blunt about is if you get pushed out of line, then you guys are stuck. And what I mean by that is there's 3 specific check marks we need to obtain. The first process is you go to the back of the line. We have to actually have a structural team come look at the roof to make sure that it's structurally sound and that there's no sort of shading. Now, what percentage of your roof has any sort of shade whatsoever? I do not care if there's any trees within 6 miles from the house. I always ask them that question. Then I say, what about the rafters? Do you know if you have vertical and horizontal or just vertical rafters? When's the last time you looked at your attic? Sometimes if I need to get them physically involved, I say, can I take a quick look at that? If I'm up in their attic, bro, like what the heck are they not, like I'm not going to sit there for an hour, go up into their attic, go to the side of their house, look at their breaker, and they're not going to do it. It's like, I can't wait till that happens. I'm going to be like, wait a second, bro, what'd you have me go up in the attic for if this was not something you were open to, you know? So I'm getting them physically involved. I'm going up into their attic. I'm saying that the structure, okay, that's the first check mark we need to obtain. The second check mark we need to obtain is the utility. If the utility was to deny the application, one thing I'm going to be very blunt about is we can't even do it. You'd be stuck. And then the third thing, which is pretty easy, that's just permitting, but that's also a reason that deters people from getting started. We get those 3 check marks obtained, then we call you, we schedule an install, then we install the system. After it's installed, it's inspected. After it's inspected, then it turns on. Sun goes up, bills go down. So I just labeled out the whole roadmap, which I typically do during my intent statement, because you have to sell the destination, not the plane to get there. If I told you you could have a free trip to Hawaii, but it had 7 layovers, you probably wouldn't want to do it. You know, if I was like, hey, here's a free trip. Oh, by the way, you're booked on Frontier Airlines and you have 7 flights. Probably wouldn't want to do it, you know? What's worse, Frontier or Spirit?
Spirit.
There you go. All right. So that's really what it comes down to for me.
So just when you're in the house and everything looks good, we love it. I just need to sleep on it, or I just need a day or a week. What do you do to make the decision happen right then? Because I think you're not a guy that goes back with it later.
Sir, may I have your permission just to be blunt with you? Okay, so I've done this for so long, and typically what happens, like I've sat at thousands of kitchen tables in the same scenario, and typically what happens is some people tend to make this a much bigger decision than it really is, where deep down you probably know what the best decision is for yourself, your home, and your family. I understand you want to cross your T's, you want to dot your I's, you want to make sure everything that I told you was exactly the way that it is, no more, no less. But if everything that I laid out on this piece of paper is exactly the way that it is, absolutely no more and absolutely no less, would you lean towards the left side and being at the mercy of the power company forever? Or would you lean towards the right side where you had the control and predictability and knew the fact that you were paying less on a bill that you were never going to cancel?
Yeah, I get that, man, but I just met you.
No, totally understand. But if everything that I laid out on this piece of paper was exactly how it was, just hypothetically, if everything that I told you was exactly the way that it is, would you lean towards the left or towards the right?
Oh, the right, of course.
Well, guess what? Everything that I told you is exactly the way that it is. There is no more, there is no less. My job is very simple. I have to make sure that we can get all this approved. But if you're sitting there telling me like, hey, I'm unsure about something, then I apologize because I must have not explained something correctly. Because typically at this point of the presentation, people usually have a picture of like ice and pink lemonade. And like I know that's a little like graphic for you, to like imagery for your mind. But at the end of the day, this is exactly how it is. There is no more, there is no less. So at the end of the day, you're really going to end up saying yes to something. But let's just say, okay? Because you said you moved in here 5 years ago. Okay, so I don't know if you moved in the furniture yourself or somebody else did it, but imagine when you called the power company to say, hey, I just moved in, this is my address, can you put the power in my name? And they're like, yeah, we can do that, but we need to send a representative out to your house. And that representative laid out both these options. The first time you turned on your power, which way do you think you would lean? If it was the utility company laying out this option and that option the first day you moved in, what do you think you would have said? Okay, it's the same concept that if you had solar, let's just say I walked out the front door and I looked up and I saw that the panels were on the roof, and you knew that you had the $142 fixed amount. You knew the fact that you had the control and predictability, and you're cooking eggs one morning and you go hear the doorbell and you check who it is, and it's FP&L, and they say, hey, would you rip off the panels and come back to us knowing the fact that we can raise your rate at any time? What would you say? The only difference is I don't have an FP&L logo on my shirt. So my job is very simple. All I'm really trying to do is earn a little bit of your trust today and earn the respect as we go. Earn the rest of your trust as we go. Because what I'm going to do is every single Friday I'm going to check in with you and keep you updated on this project. But being very blunt with you, sir, if this isn't something that you're excited about, we are not going to use our company resources to have the home surveyed, to submit your applications, to pay for your permitting. I think that's the main reason that deters people from going solar. But at the end of the day, I could have given you a 2-hour process, but this is exactly how it is. The idea is either you feel good about it, or hey, I feel good about it, I just want to cross my T's, dot my I's, and that's perfectly fine. Everything that I said on this piece of paper is exactly the way that it is going to be on the forms. Now, obviously they aren't, but if the panels were on the roof, what would be your biggest concern? Of course, and my dad's always told me documentation beats conversation, like what he calls the brass tacks. That's why I broke down the bill to the ridiculous, to the exact kilowatts. So before we fill out the forms, did you have any other questions for me? Boom. I utilize a lot of subtle things there, if you notice. Obviously the panels aren't, but what would be your biggest concern? Before we fill out the forms, I'm not making any sort of decision today. So what level of comfort would you need to actually make those decisions today? Oh, well, I need to do more research. Okay, so what you're telling me is if you were able to do more research, you would feel comfortable with making those next steps today. You see, these are little techniques or little lines that I have in my bag. I don't necessarily need them every single time, but I can rather have them and not need them. It's like cologne or perfume. If I put 14 sprays of cologne, or a girl puts 14 sprays of perfume and walks in an elevator, you're going to be like, damn, it's obvious you have cologne or perfume on. If somebody has nothing on, then they smell like everybody else. But if you have the right amount of cologne or the right amount of perfume, the right amount of sauce, that's how you can create the decision and help people think different.
I have 2 questions.
Yep.
One that could be helpful for everybody in the room is, what's your, past the level 1 area, what's your do not list of what to ask or say at the door or in the close? That's just like, it's very basic. Like instead of saying, okay, well, what is it that you have to think about? Like, what's the do not list? That's just very basic.
The very basic do not list is nasty words that you need to replace from your vocabulary, because nasty words remind buyers of bad past selling experiences. Nobody wants to buy anything. People want to own. People don't want you to set an appointment with them. People want you to pop by and visit, right? I don't set appointments, I pop by and visit. People do not want a monthly payment. Stop saying your monthly payment, the payment for the solar. Replace the word payment with amount. People don't want a monthly payment, they want a monthly amount. People don't want to sign anything. We want them to okay, approve, authorize, or endorse. People don't want a contract. People want an agreement, a form, or paperwork. You see, these are nasty words. What's that nasty P word? 10 push-ups. He said it. He fell for the trick. All right, let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go. No. We're going to give him a golf clap. All right, nice. What do we say instead of that word? Presentation. He just wanted to get a quick pump, you know?
That's right.
If you want to get a quick pump before the club, one of my buddies told me this. He's like, if you're like sitting in line waiting, you just take your buddy's hand and you just squeeze as hard as you can. That's how you get a quick pump before the club. Joe likes that line. I know he does. He'll probably use it next time. He doesn't wait in lines, though.
So on the setting side, you're at the end. What makes an appointment sticky? So you're not
Yes, great question. Great question. Something that I do that nobody else really does, and I don't understand why. So my job is very simple. All I do today are two things. I show you where the panels would be laid out and what your bill would have been last month. After they agree to set the time with me, I then take my phone out. I say, okay, I'm going to send you a quick text to the pre-report. That's when I send them the picture of their roof with the sun hours. And then after I send them the pre-report picture, I type in their address and the time I'm going back, so 7 p.m., 44 Wilson Road, 7 p.m. Tuesday. And then I say, can you send me a quick thumbs up emoji so that I know that you got that text? Or you can send me your favorite emoji of choice if you really want to surprise me. And then I get them to laugh, right? Why would I ask them to send me an emoji?
Get them involved.
Who sends emojis to each other?
Friends.
Friends, okay? Now I'm going to a text message relationship with them. But that's not where I stop. If they're like, all right, appointment at 7, okay, send me the emoji, okay, bye. No. What I do after I have the appointment set is I always spend a couple minutes rebuilding the rapport authentically. Not synthetically, but authentic rapport building. Nice, man, I noticed the Florida Gators. Are you guys from Gainesville? Dude, I don't know if you play golf, but there's a new commercial on ESPN. John Rahm, he's one of the golfers. He's like sitting in the ESPN office and the Florida Gators waiting in the microwave, and he's just sitting there and he's like looking at him. And he's like, hey, I'll just take a drop. Didn't want to go near the Gator. I thought that was pretty funny, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, and then I go back into something that I said earlier, probably repetitive. Like I said, there's no way I can hurt your situation. Once I have the design complete, all I'm going to do is show you an apples-to-apples process. I don't believe in high pressure, and it's not a long drawn-out process, so probably about 15 minutes. But nice. How many dogs do you have, by the way? Cool. This is a cool dog, actually. My wife's been begging for me to get a Cocker Spaniel. I actually used to have a beta fish, and that was probably like the most maintenance I could deal with, like as far as pets. So I'm trying to hold off on the dogs or cats or anything like that. But yeah, Roger, I really appreciate it. But where are you from originally, by the way? Oh yeah, can you tell where I'm from? I'll give you like a hint. You got a pocket cow over here. My RV is parked on the other side. Yeah, I'm from Boston. All right, buddy, I'll see you tomorrow. Right? Then I'm off. But that step of rebuilding the rapport is critical. Critical. After you set the appointment, I need to become Taylor. If I'm just the solar guy, then more than likely they're going to cancel the appointment. But if I become Taylor, then I can get that thing to stick. Good. Any other questions?
Let's go.
One more question.
Do you do any other like lead gen stores or just door knocking?
I've never had a lead in my 17-year career. I've never bought a lead. I've never done online leads.
Just strictly door knocking, that's it, right?
Trick-or-treating, yeah. Trick-or-treating, yeah. Yeah, just trick-or-treating. And it's like, dude, there's plenty of days I don't feel like working, but I just exercise and I make friends. I just trick-or-treat and I go make money. Like, I give away free money. I literally can go walk around, look at a roof, and be like, that is a $10,000 scratch ticket on the roof. All I need to do is use my words correctly, and I win.
What's your thoughts on like people doing like more like online lead gen, like Facebook ads or a lot of words?
I mean, it works for a lot of people, but like I could probably go up against one of those persons with no leads on the doors, and like I'm not going to lose, bro. Like. It's something about being able to control the conversation. I think a lot of people want to reinvent the wheel and do all these other things. But, all the training that I'm giving you guys is not on a theory. This is all based on experience. I'm a selling sales trainer. I'm not just going to tell you things that sound good, but teach you things from my experience. But door-to-door sales is hard. Rejection is tough. 99% of people don't do door-to-door sales because they can't handle rejection. We're the only creature that faces rejection every single day. That's why we need to shift the way that we think. That rejection turns us on. I love rejection, baby,
Taylor, I got somebody online. Alan's got a question for you.
Yes.
So, one thing that you said that kind of resonated with me was that, like, basically all life
hypothetically, like when you're like on your deathbed, what would you want your greatest contribution to be?
So when I'm 75 years old and I'm sitting in my rocking chair, right, with all my buddies, right, smoking a cigar or some CBD or whatever it is, right, hanging out with all my friends, I want to talk about all the memories that we had and the impact and the legacy that we were able to make. People will forget how much money they made in a year, but they're not going to forget the people that they made it with and the memories that they had. So I think for me, it got to a point where, I could have, done my own solar company, focused on recruiting salesmen, all that. But for me, it was saying, hey, how big of an impact can I make? How wide can I cast my net? And what impact and legacy do I want to leave? And I want to leave an impact that salesmen should have never been called salesmen. We should have been called servants. And door-to-door salesmen or door-to-door servants have a real job. What we do is very respectable, and we give people the opportunity, to get involved, People don't want to get sold. That's another word. I don't sell anybody anything. I get them involved or I help them acquire. I'm not selling you anything. I'm getting you involved. I'm helping you acquire. So I guess when it comes down to it, bro, when I'm there, I just want to look back and say, hey, was I able to make an impact on the people around me? Was I able to shift somebody's course of their direction a little bit? And as I do that, we're on a continuous journey. It really is a continuous journey. And we all have to work on ourselves harder than we do at our job, because the better version of yourself that you are, the better you are at what you do. So I'm just on the continuous journey toward the achievement of predetermined worthwhile goals, working on myself every single day so I can give my best self to the world. That would be my answer to that question. All right, any last questions?
Taylor, you said that you don't do second touches, right?
I mean, if I have to, I will, but a lot of the time I'm like, bro, I show them my plane. I'm like, dude, I'm leaving. It's same day or die for me a lot of the time.
What about the individuals who are like,
yeah,
hey, I just moved in, I don't even have that much consumption yet, it sounds like a great idea, I'm open to it, but what are we going to be going based off of here?
So we use something called a load calculator. Do you know the square footage of the home? Because all these homes were built by Lennar, and I don't know if you saw the families that already put up the solar. They didn't win the lottery, but they were a little dramatic, understanding that the utility company was a landlord just seizing money out of their bank account. So all I really need to do is understand one question specifically. What is the envisionment that you have here for the home? Do you guys plan on getting any electric cars, hot tubs? Like, how many people live in the house? Do you know how many washers and dryers? Then I'll ask a lot of questions, and then I'll utilize a load calculator to actually design the system. So that's what I do, but I also don't really knock new builds too much. If I'm in there, I can do it, but my ideal turf is middle class with no garages. Upper middle class is perfect for me. Like upper middle class or high-end homes is really what I would like to work, more than working really low class. Some people like different areas, but I hate failing credits, dude. I hate taking somebody through the process, which we did a nice little failed credit yesterday. All right.
Hey, Taylor.
Yes.
Last thing, man, because I know that you got to go, and this is something, man, that, well, first of all, dude, again, I just want to thank you for being in that office, and I think that there's no better way to end this wonderful meeting without the GOAT breaking us out.
Let's go.
All right. So this is how it's going to work. Everybody take out your pen and your piece of paper. Everyone takes out your pen and a piece of paper. I want you to write the word positive. Under the word positive, I want you to write the word strong. Under the word strong, I want you to write number one. Under the word number one, you're going to write number one. Under the word number one, you're going to write number one again. Under that, you're going to write FES. And under that, you're going to say FES. So I'm going to say, I want you to repeat it after me in the same tonality I do. How's your attitude? How does that make you feel? We are born to be. Shall remain. We are. How's your attitude?
Positive.
How does that make you feel?
Strong.
We are.
Number one.
Born to be.
Number one.
Shall remain.
Number one.
We are.
FES.
We are.
FES.
How's your attitude?
Positive.
How does that make you feel?
Strong.
We are.
Number one.
Born to be.
Number one.
Shall remain.
Number one.
We are.
FES.
We are.
FES.
How's your attitude?
Positive.
How does that make you feel?
Strong.
We are.
Number one.
Born to be.
Number one.
Shall remain.
Number one.
We are.
FES.
We are.
FES.
How's your attitude? How does that make you feel? Strong. We are. Number one. Born to be. Number one. Shall remain. Number one. We are. We are. We are. One more time. How's your attitude?
Positive.
How does it make you feel?
Strong.
We are.
Number one.
Born to be.
Number one.
Shall remain.
Number one.
We are.
FES.
We are.
FES.
Hey, who's ready to make a play today?
Yeah.
Fired up, baby. Selling them on selling. Who feels the little things on their forehead? That means you're going to sell a lot today. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for having me. And if any of you guys need materials, I'm going to be in the back. Thank you guys so much. It was fun.